So you may be wondering, like, what the fuck is going on, right? It's early in the week, obviously. It's Tuesday. And I'm streaming. Like, what's going on, right? I don't know, I just missed it. That's all I've got. Like, if you were expecting some long-winded like explanation of why, there is none. I just couldn't wait until Thursday, and yeah, so I just wanted to squeeze some streaming as fast as I could. Maybe I'll do one on Thursday as well, but I don't know. Like, not streaming last week just kind of rubbed me the wrong way somehow. So yeah. So that's it, basically. That's the reason. That's all you got. My doorbell might ring, actually. I'm expecting someone. That someone is here to see me for 10 seconds and then they'll go. So it's not like I'll have like a guest or something. But I do need to answer the door, unfortunately. So, if we hear a doorbell, I'm just gonna mute myself and I'll go and check it out, And that's it, basically. But wait. I did kind of like underplay it a little bit. There are some reasons that I wanted, like, or rather, I couldn't hold back, right, with streaming today. And one of them is, I mean, as you might have guessed by the tabs that I have open here, I was watching two of my favorite YouTubers. Nah, not at all. Just I just noticed on my recommended videos for some reason, even though I just don't watch Asmongold that often. Sorry, I guess. I noticed that he reacted to something that immediately drew my interest, and that was like this weird Final Fantasy starter guide series. So I watched like 5 minutes of Asmongold's reaction to it, and I was like, "Whoa, I've got to react to it." No idea why. It just immediately, my first thought was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna react to that. Fuck it. I don't want. I don't want Asmongold to spoil it for me. I don't want to watch it on my own. I want to watch it on stream and react to it, obviously. And then a streamer slash YouTuber that I discovered recently. It's that weird bald guy with a red beard who looks like a, you know, like a totally. Oh shit! Here we go. That's a doorbell. Give me a sec. I'll be right back. That's it. See, I was very fast. Didn't I tell you it wouldn't be anything? And it wasn't. So I'm gonna roll a cigarette, and then I'll watch these two things. The second one I didn't talk about yet. I realize. And this second one is gonna bring us into the subject that I wanted to initially talk about today, which is basically, MMOs in general, and how I feel about them right now, and why. Because I felt like you know what, I needed a change of pace from Skyrim. All right, what are you gonna do? You can't stop me, so I'll do it. All right. I wanted to talk about guilds, and even though I've talked about the ones I've run in the past, I've talked about them like a couple of times, but not too extensively, And I feel like I should just fucking get it out of my system once and for all, and do the same about the MMO genre, as a genre. Just talk about it, talk about how I feel about it. Because I always say, for example, oh, I won't stream it because of this and that. But the conversation goes much deeper if I let it. And, today I just want to let it. But back to what I was saying. So that weird fox-haired guy, fox facial-haired bald guy, whose videos I really enjoy actually, covered this weird Dreadworm Academy thing that you can see up there. And again, like the first fucking minute of his video, I was like, oh, I have to fucking read through on my own, and react to it on my own, right? Uninfluenced by Foxbeard guy and uninfluenced by Asmongold, yes. That wasn't a practice joke, by the way. It's always like, it's this weird Bald. It always kind of confuses me a little bit. And this is not like, this is my problem. Being a non-English, a non-native English speaker anyway. It's just it's a weird name to say. I prefer to say Asmon. I don't know. But I don't know if that's okay. Whatever. And also because one of my favorite 40k, lore video creators is also called Voldemort, and they're also bald totally. You know, the icon they're using for their profile picture is a bald person. All of this somehow fucking confuses me when it comes to Asmongold. I just, and because also of the fucking memes about him being bald and all that. You know, it's not my fucking fault is what I'm trying to say. All right, let me bring my tobacco. Obligatory cough. And yeah, don't worry. I've been smoking less. Believe it or not, I'm reducing it. All right, it's under control. Okay, more than it was, and it's gonna be even more. But yeah, I'm still smoking. I'm still not over my heavy smoking phase that started like I don't know, last month. But whatever. I mean, I'm giving myself a break so far, but now, you know, I've got to restrain myself. And also, hello, Neris. I saw it, but I was like, you know, I wasn't gonna interrupt myself there. Sorry. Wow, so many things that coming out of my mouth immediately, like just one after the other, just confuses me, makes me feel dizzy. Though legit, I do feel dizzy also because I slept like shit. It was like, so you can see now it's like what is 25 degrees, right? It was 28 or something. Now it's 25. At night it was like 14. I kept waking up. I couldn't decide if I was warm or cold, or I couldn't fucking sleep. There was too much noise coming out from the street. Like, my head is just, you know, just fucked, man. I don't know. Seriously. So anyway, let's start with like these two things. I'd be dying with those temperatures. Yeah, I'm fucking dying with those temperatures. Like, I can't handle it anymore. Seriously, it's October. And, well, the end of October. And it's like, it's summer here. Well, during the day and during the night, it's fucking, I don't know what it is. Some kind of air conditioner temperature. Well, anyway. Oh, and one more thing. In all seriousness now, I will, of course, do what I said. I will set up Skyrim again. You know, update the mods and all that. I'm in the process. Next week I will stream properly. We're gonna start our new dual wield light armor playthrough. Okay? No shields, no two-handed weapons, no bows, no magic allowed. Maybe magic, we'll see. But only a tad bit that is like melee friendly. And very snappy, you know, no fucking casting, you know, per se. Also, maybe I should increase my mic's volume, I'm not sure. Bring it to here, maybe? Because the way I'm sitting right now, I'm just not even facing the microphone. I'm just like facing away from it, just because I want to have a smoke. I don't know, how's the sound? Maybe lower it actually a little bit. It's in the yellow. Maybe here is good, I don't know. Well, anyway, so let's start with oh wait, I wanted to say something. Right, that's what I wanted to say. So, right, yeah. Here's what I decided to do, and you can't fucking hold me, you know, hostage to what I'm saying right now, but this is my intention, okay? So, starting next Skyrim stream, not next stream, which might be in 2 days, might be, but next proper Skyrim stream, I will start using my camera with a condition, you know, under a certain condition. I will start with like as much clothing as I can put on me without feeling uncomfortable and without looking like an idiot. Probably including like a hood and a face mask and probably even glasses. We'll see. And every stream, I will be removing one of those articles of clothing or accessories. And yeah, I will have gloves, and yes, motherfucker, every glove is gonna count for one item. So, and I might decide to take my shoes off first. Okay, or even my underwear, but you won't know it. And I won't take my clothes off, so you will never know if what I took off that day was just my underwear. And I'm never gonna discuss it. But if you know, if I'm wearing the same things on 2 consecutive streams, then you know that I probably took my underwear off. And we will leave it at that, okay? Everything on me is gonna count. Everything, okay? I might even clip my nails and that's still gonna count. No, I'm just kidding, that's not gonna count, okay? But shoes and socks, and like, you know, whatever. God, I better wear a fucking garter belt, like for extra for extra equipment. Fuck. But yeah, that's gonna be it, and hopefully by the end of it, I will have reduced my worn equipment so much so that I will have, you know, I will have entered that territory where I'm comfortable with like taking off like my face mask. My face mask is gonna stay until the end. That's for sure. And it's gonna be a very simple one as well, like some rags or something that befit my fucking station in society right now. Right, so let's see what the fuck this is about, right? So I see some low numbers here, that's good. And it seems like it ends at episode 6, which is very good because I don't want to fucking watch for a whole hour. Let's see what this is about. I am so fucking curious. Wait, this is... Oh my fucking god, it's official? This shit is official? Oh no, comments turned off. Oh no. Alright, let's see. Okay, I'm now more afraid. I thought it was someone's... Oh my god, and it's so recent. And look, not a lot of people liked this. Okay, I guess. Hey, I'm not responsible for what you're going to hear, okay? If they say something weird, I'll just pause or something, okay? I'm new, alright? Let's see. Should I full screen? I shouldn't full screen, right? That's crazy. How's the sound? Let me know.
Welcome to Final Fantasy XIV
Oh
Online.
my god.
I'm Mayra, a scholar and one of millions of players adventuring through the ever-expanding world of Eorzeal.
Alright, wait a minute. A scholar, huh? Well, that's very interesting because recently I was reading about Final Fantasy and well, it seems that the Guild Wars 2 virus is infecting it, where it's the high DPS virus. High DPS. Where no one wants to play a tank or a healer anymore. And Scholar is not exactly... I don't know, I mean... Is it even popular anymore? Listen, I'm out of the loop, alright? I stopped playing like half a year ago or something. But I try to keep up. But Scholar being popular, I'm not so sure. It's weird then that they would use a Scholar. But maybe that's exactly because, you know, maybe that's exactly why they're using a Scholar here. Well, maybe I'm wrong as well. Who knows? Maybe right now Scholar is like fucking top tier. Anyway, let's go. Actually,
in this series,
there
I'll
we go.
be introducing you to some early tips to help you get the most out of your adventure. From character creation and basic game mechanics, to dungeons, boss battles, and more.
She's going to introduce us to dungeon mechanics in a series of 6 episodes, all of which combined are like 1/10 of the guide of one savage.
And it just so happens I've got a friend eager to start his adventure today as well. Let's recruit him, shall we?
Oh! All right, thanks for the invite, Mayra.
Hi there, Kaz. Welcome to Final Fantasy XIV Online.
Okay, you know, I'm gonna let this fly, alright.
Yes! I keep hearing about it.
He's making it very hard for me to let it slip by, you know.
I had to try it for myself. Hi, you're the pro, though, so, you know, what am I getting into?
You've come to the right scholar. Let me show you. Final Fantasy XIV Online is the critically acclaimed online RPG where you embark on the journey of a lifetime and reforge...
Yes, of a fucking lifetime. That is very correct. It's a game that does not respect your time or your subscription. I'm sorry. Any MMO for me that has this gear creep, it's a very steep gear creep. And everything that you can do in its disjointed content is very, very grindy, in my opinion. Hey, I should preface this by saying these are my opinions, and you don't have to agree with them, nor do they mean that this is a bad or a good game. It means only what it means. That's all I'm saying is my opinion, alright? You can have a different opinion, I'll allow it. Even on this fucking stream, I'll allow it. But you know, bring patience, as they say in raiding. Yeah, bring patience, because like I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy, right? To put it mildly, and my opinion like is based on 2 years of gaming in Final Fantasy. Like I would spend like I think I've said it before in my 3P reflections with the guys, with Neris and Sam. I've spent the good, you know, the best of those 3 years, let's say, playing daily for 6 hours minimum, raiding. All right, let's see.
The fate of Eorzea. Though it is the 14th entry in the Final Fantasy series, it has a self-contained story with its unique universe and lore.
Alright, if you've played Final Fantasy before, you already know it's self-contained, and you already know that that doesn't mean jack shit, because they're gonna be referencing every single other Final Fantasy. And every other single Final Fantasy out there will be referencing stuff from this in the future. So, trying to say that this is a unique Final Fantasy and it's like the 14th entry, that's the sauce.
So if this is your first Final Fantasy, welcome. This is the perfect place to start. The best part is, it's constantly expanding. So whether you're playing solo...
No, that's not the best part. That's the worst part. It's constantly expanding. You can't fucking stop it. Alright, much like me. To the point where there are so many things to do that it becomes like overwhelming as fuck. Overwhelming and completely time consuming at this point.
Flow at your own pace through the main storyline, or you join other players to explore this world together. You'll always find a new, exciting adventure.
Alright, you don't need other players in this game at all. In fact, if you even imply that you want to play it as an MMO, people are going to fucking shoo you out of there. The game gives no incentive for people to group up beyond raiding and dungeons, which I mean, obviously. I haven't seen any incentive to group up with anyone, ever. And I've done everything in the game. I've literally done everything in the game, including like, ranked monster hunts and stuff. I did all that like either solo or with a friend at most. We still downed the targets. There was even incidents where, because we downed it 2P, the whole train that was on the map looking for it was like, boo, why did you do that, and shit like that. Neris can confirm he was there. Simple as that, I'm not lying. You don't need others, it's not a choice. In fact, the way the game is set up, as people chant, as this crazy little cult community it has, they have this chant where it goes like, how does it go? Story-driven RPG first, MMO later, or second or something.
And you're waiting for you. Basically, it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Oh, let's do this! Man, what the...
Well, you could go now, but if you spare a few minutes with me, I can offer some useful tips to make your adventure even better.
And help me become the adventurer of my dreams? Yes, please.
Good choice.
So that was the first part. I feel this could have been the intro in this one. Anyway, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah yes. Character creation in Final Fantasy. Let's see. Are we going to be a human with cat accessories? Are we going to be a taller human? Are we going to be like you get what I'm saying?
Oh, love those ears.
Oh, a Makote, huh?
You bet. Now to pick my class. I love the look of the gladiator. It's just a shame I'll never learn how to...
Wait, they what? What happened to showcasing what's there? You know, the variety of choices. Now, why would they not show that, I wonder? / sarcasm.
to be an archer.
Well, that's the beauty of Final Fantasy XIV Online. Your character can actually play every class in the game.
Okay, that's a strong point of the game. That is a very strong point of the game. Yes, I would love this to be true for every MMO coming forward. This is a feature that not only should it not be considered copy-pasting if other MMOs start doing this, or even convert to it, but it should be considered like a staple. Yeah.
Classes are split into 3 roles. Tanks, who hold the enemy's attention and soak up their attacks. There are damage dealing, or DPS classes, who take down enemies as quickly as possible. And healers, who, well, heal the party.
As quickly as possible. Well, about that. 2 things. There are no tanks and no healers. It's all DPS. Just... Oh man, this is gonna be a huge... This reaction is gonna be... It's gonna take a while, isn't it? Like, alright, so you know, even part of the shortage of healers currently is because of this. Is because they don't have anything to do other than DPS, resulting in them DPSing, resulting in me in dungeons doing more DPS as a healer than the DPS and getting fucking kicked because of it. True story. And the same as a tank as well. So these roles are just not... They're not satisfactory to play.
You choose your starting class now, but once you reach level 10, you can unlock and change to other classes whenever you like. Also, your character's gender, race, patron deity, or date of birth won't limit any major aspects of your game.
Alright, so why have a choice then? I mean, I get gender, I get race, I suppose, but patron deity and name day and all that, why is it even there at this point? Replace it with a more meaningful system that does impact roleplay, not gameplay, okay? Because it's useless right now.
Play. And you'll even have the option to change your appearance later in the game. So don't worry too much and just create a character that...
That was good wording. You will have the option. Yeah, you will have the option to pay for that. Yes, that is true. Unless we're talking about that minimal customization. I guess that too is... You know what? I take it back. That is actually a strong point. Because even though you have to pay for Fantasia to fix your character, quote unquote, meaning to turn into a Mikote from anything else, literally, the barber NPC does allow you, or the equivalent of the barber, I don't remember what it's called, the stylist, I guess, I don't know, does allow you to pay a very small fee to change your, maybe even your eyes in some races, which brings us to the point of like, why not on all races? But okay, I mean, on one hand you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but on the other hand, why? Why not? Anyway, let's go on.
you like.
That is amazing. I'm gonna start as an archer. No, arcanist. No, lancer. Ah, an enemy. Gladiator sounds great. Oh, can't wait to try the others later. Let's do this. Yeah, no big deal. Got 12 XP.
You can earn much more experience while enjoying the story. Let me show you how it's done. If you want to succeed, learn to read the map. Fewer random enemies, more main scenario quests, or MSQs.
Learn to read the map. I would understand this in Planet Side too. What is there... Is this like considered complicated by the current generation of gamers, like this map? I mean, it doesn't get simpler than that. Wow. Okay, learn to read the map. Okay, I mean, okay, well, whatever. I like that little small detail where she tells the guy that, oh, you got XP? Just 12 XP? Alright, well, you should do the story. So much for leveling the way you want, right? No, you gotta do the story. Anyway, moving on.
These are the quests you follow to experience the main story. By completing them, you'll earn some fantastic rewards and level up much faster. You'll also have the option to follow loads of side quests. These won't...
Oh boy. Oh boy. I have done, listen, you're in the company of someone who has done every single side quest in the game, fanatically eliminating those icons from the map. All of them. No, really, all of them. Legit, all. From every single map of the game. Everywhere. My map is clean as a baby's fucking ass. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work. That's smooth as a baby's ass. Baby asses are usually fucking dirty. Oh my god. You get what I'm trying to say though, right? It's clean. It's fucking clean. And let me tell you, every single side quest was absolute torture. Okay? After the first 10, it's fucking torture. And the XP amounts to nothing compared to story quests. At this point, I think they shouldn't even have side quests because it's embarrassing. I think they should replace side quests with small roleplay stories and nothing else. Some dialogue, some this, that, but like completely, really just nothing. Honestly, maybe just dialogues with some NPCs offering some background information on some stuff. I don't know. But side quests are, oh my god, in this game, and I did all of them, like literally fucking all of them.
Won't impact your main story, but they will help you explore the world and earn gil, experience, and other rewards.
Oh, I'd love to check out my first MSQ.
Wait, what other rewards? Out of like 500 side quests that I've completed, I think like 2 of them offered me an item and the rest offered like some shit XP and shit fucking gold, and that's it. I'm calling her a liar, outright lying here, sorry.
Great! Then let's get you to the Adventurers Guild. That's Momodi. See the meteor icon above her head? That's how you know you should talk to her for your MSQ objective.
Alright, to me that doesn't look like a meteor icon. I don't know why they call it that, but it looks like fucking aggressively vomited vomit. I should know, I've been drunk enough times in my life.
Which will be updated in your main scenario guide as you progress, here on the upper left. Keep a lookout for those icons, as well as other quest types. And you can always access your journal to keep track of the quests you have accepted and completed.
Right, MSQ, earn great XP. Got it. Max level, here I come.
The map.
Oh, follow the map. That thing is pretty useful.
So far it feels like this is addressed to complete morons. Moving on.
Hey, Kaz. How are your main scenario quests coming along?
Great. Completed a few.
Would you stop harassing the person with the main quest, please? Like, why? What is this pressure? Jesus, okay, well...
You gained a few levels. No big deal. But I was wondering about that thing under my main scenario quest.
Oh, under your MSQ? That's your class quest. When you join a class's guild, you'll get special quests featuring unique storylines, which will help you earn some awesome abilities and gear. Eorzea has guilds for each class.
Awesome abilities? Not for a very long while, my friend. Not as far as I remember. I remember the abilities come in a trickle. It's embarrassing. And most of them are duplicates. Let's move on. Let's just move on. Maybe my memory is a bit fuzzy about that, but I could have sworn having every class in the game except like 2 or 3, I could have sworn that this is not the case. Like the initial quests are so super boring. It's like, let me just do them to get to the next one and the next one up until level 80.
And you can unlock other classes by visiting the guilds in each of the 3 starting cities after reaching level 10. If you want to become a master of different classes, you're welcome to join up and see what each has to offer. For now, let's take a look at your gladiator class quest.
Alright, so here's a major gripe. She says if you want to become a master of those classes, when you say that you become a master of a class, when you master the class, we usually are talking about realistically being able to 100% perform under any circumstance with that class and never fail in your main objectives as that class. This is very different than getting every class to max level. Very, very different. And the game does a very poor job at teaching people their classes while they are actually leveling those classes.
If you're not sure what to do, you can always reference your main scenario guide. Whenever you're able to undertake a new class quest, they will show up here under your next MSQ, so be sure to keep an eye out. Let's see what's next.
Oh, right, the Gladiators Guild. Now these are my kind of fighters. Let me talk to the leader to see how to complete my class quest.
Looks like Mila wants to test you. Ready to slay some monsters?
I was born ready.
Okay, first let's review the objectives in your journal. All set? Then let's show them what you've got. You did it! Now we can go back to Mila to complete your quest.
Wait a minute. I see how that's possible. It's the hairstyle that has the adornment, and she herself has the glasses as a helmet. Okay. It looks weird. They should have picked a hairstyle that does not have the adornment.
Huh? What's that? Oh, what's going on here?
Oh, that player's participating in a full active time event.
Oh, okay. So what is that?
Full
That's what fate means? My mind is fucking blown. Full action time event? Wait a minute, is that the
active time event.
full active time event? Oh my god. Full active time event? Time to more about, dude. Like, full active time event. Do you see that player over there? He's activated. Full active time event? Alright, that is the biggest oversell I've ever heard in history. You know, never mind it, just call them fates, okay? Whatever. Every single possible explanation I had in my head about this fucking name is far more amazing than full active time event. Less cringe, that's for sure. I mean, for a while I was like headcanon it that probably it means something that is part of your fate as a hero, and that was okay with me, you know. And I stopped there. I stopped looking. So what this means, basically, full active time events. Holy shit! They are a blatant ripoff of Guild Wars 2 events, world events. Not metas, just world events, though they do lead in some kind of map metas in here as well. But they are so shallow and dry that it is unbelievable. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. That was just like a side note. Full active time events. So everything else is like half active? You're playing with like one eye open? Oh, okay, alright.
Oh, okay. So what is that?
Full active time events or fates are dynamic battles that appear around Eorzea. They can be boss battles, escort missions, or other events, and help you earn some great rewards. These aren't tied to the main...
They are not dynamic at all. In most cases, they're not, at least, or in the crashing majority. It's not as nuanced as in Guild Wars 2, where there are fail states that generate other events that do this, that do that. You know, it's a little bit more shallow here. But I guess, you know, if you're looking for a substitute, it's better that they're there than if they weren't there. I'll say this much.
Scenario, but are fun optional content that you'll encounter out in the open world. You can gauge the fate level here, the time left, and the progress. Any nearby player can join a fate, and higher level players need to temporarily sync their level to the fate to join.
Yeah, which is very annoying, by the way. That what she just said is annoying. I think that Guild Wars 2 makes a better job at handling level scaling, because you don't lose your abilities. You don't have to rely on rotations that you have unlearned on purpose. It just scales them down. It's just such a simple thing. And like, no, I think like Fates could have been better, but again, I'll say for sure, it's better that they're there, because open world sucks in Final Fantasy, and these actually help it a little bit. So, yeah.
This fate is at a perfect level for you, though, so if you want to join, simply enter the fate radius on your map.
To battle! Let's do this.
Ooh, better sync my level so I can help him out. Nice! You got a gold medal for your contribution and earned a lot of experience. Pretty good for your first time. You'll come across loads of fates as you progress through your MSQs in the open world, so keep a lookout for other exciting challenges.
Oh, another one! Let's go!
Wait, that one's level 20! Oh, yikes. I'll just go ahead and get a resurrection ready.
I regret this.
So far I am kind of... you can't see it, but I'm kind of cringing a little bit. Yeah, let's move on.
He's still wearing that thing?
Oh, thanks. Just taking a nap.
Let's check your inventory.
Hey,
First things first, let's get you organized. Just click an item, select sort, and voila, nice and tidy.
whoa, wait! I have a bird?
You've got a wayward hatchling minion. Just select him and you can have a chocobo chick of your very own to accompany you.
Sweet! I'm gonna name him Harold. How does that sound, Harold?
I don't think you can name your miniatures. Or your, like, how do they call them in Final Fantasy? Your minis anyway, your you know, your pets or whatever. Not pets, you get what I'm saying. You can't name those, I think.
You seem like a good team.
I would die for him.
Let's bring up your character menu and take a look at the gear in your armory chest. If you're not sure what to equip, click recommended gear to automatically equip your best items.
Oh.
Yeah, that's useful when you start, until you realize that the gear system is extremely shallow. Basically stack as much critical as you can, followed by as much direct hit as you can, followed by as much determination as you can, and you're gold as a DPS, which I assume everyone is playing at this point. Even as a healer, you do want direct hit and you do want critical, even as a healer. And as a tank, I think the only thing you don't want as a tank is probably direct hit, with some exceptions. I think warrior actually needs direct hit. I've forgotten now, honestly. But yeah, the gear system is just bullshit.
Okay, let's see. Recommended gear, and... Oh, wow.
Yeah, not ideal. Here, I've got a better idea.
I don't don't see how you could beat this up.
Oh, I think also Black Mage is an exception where I think you can also play it with like a very high casting speed or something. But yeah, maybe if you're like very new to healing, you might want more mana. I don't fucking think so, but whatever. I'll let it be. Fine. Jesus, let's see. Also, the armor. They really need to update, and not just Final Fantasy. Lots of games that do that. Lots of 10-year-old fucking MMOs. I'm looking at you, fucking Guild Wars. They need to update the starting gear and all the lower level cosmetics, because, I mean, do you really want to force your players to look like fucking 10 years ago? I mean, anyway.
A fit, but okay.
Let's find better gear, and while we're at it, teach you how to win.
I'm a level 15. I think I know a thing or two about winning.
Then that's the perfect level to begin the Hall of the Novice. Welcome to the Hall of the Novice. Here you can learn the ropes for your class and earn...
I mean, look at his appearance. What the fuck is that? Like, both color-wise and I think he's even like he got off pretty well, because at least it's all like ketchup and mustard and brown with some purple, I guess, which fucks it up as well. But like, most of the time you look like a fucking circus. Seriously. Yeah, I don't know. They need to do something about that. All MMOs need to do something about that. It's just, this shit is like the first thing you see when you enter the game and you get your first armor and you put it on and you look like a fucking idiot. Every MMO is guilty of that.
Some awesome gear. You can find a Hall of the Novice NPC located in the Adventurers Guild for your starting city. Just look for the green and gold sapling symbol above their head after you reach level 15. There are unique challenges and rewards in the Hall of the Novice for all 3 roles: tank, DPS, and healer. So if you change classes later, don't forget to come back for some training. You ready to give one a shot?
I have even completed every single one of those. I've literally done everything in the game.
Cue the music. All right, let's see what this is all about. Seriously? One enemy? Oh, easy peasy. Ow!
Yeah. What you just saw is your average MMO player right now. Not just Final Fantasy player, average MMO player. This.
Seriously?
Enemy telegraphs for 1,000 years, they just stay there and eat it.
One enemy? Oh, easy peasy. Ow! Oh, I get it. Avoid them.
Yeah, this is accurate, except this is more unrealistic because the person actually learned after the first time. That is very optimistic.
There you go. Ready for a few more?
Okay, let's do this.
We'll also practice engaging multiple targets, using a ranged attack, and using combo attacks.
And using what? Counterattacks? Wait, what?
Targets, using a ranged attack, and using combo attacks.
Counterattacks? I must have missed the memo. Counterattack? Okay. You're telling me there is active blocking in the game and I haven't known for 3 years? There's active blocking with your shield and then you can counter, like you can riposte or something? Like on reflex? That's false advertising. There's no such thing. There's not even dodging. There aren't even any iframes. You can't even, like, even if you blink teleport somewhere, the distance that you cover, if it's on an AoE, it's going to clip you. Hey, feel free to correct me, but the game has no counter. It doesn't have any system, even remotely close to, hold your shield up. If you deflect, press a button to counterattack, and that's gonna have extra properties because it's a counterattack. If the game has this, I have not known for 3 years. I only know of some nonsense skills like the old samurai shield, the mitigation skill for samurai, for example, where you can do this weird bubble around you, and if an attack breaks the bubble, you get access to like an extra strike that is like completely pointless to use. and that's it. And that, I think that's the only thing. Like, there's nothing reflex based where, you know, you can actively, you know, parry and then strike and then, you know, like For Honor or something. There's nothing like that. Anyway, maybe they mean like the one or two abilities that work like the samurai ability I described. Maybe they mean that. I'm not sure, but countering, no, it barely exists in the game in any form or shape or way.
Bravo! Now for the final exercise. Keep it up! Only one enemy left.
Well, if it's anything like the others.
I see the guy's animations, and all I can think of is it is such a shame that all those animations you'll never be able to see because of your rotation. Because if you want to do your rotation optimally, you'll be interrupting your own animations, meaning you're only gonna see like the first few frames of an animation, and then, you know, the rest might as well not be there.
Just remember what you've learned!
This is for you, Harold! Sweet! This ring helps me gain XP faster.
Nice work! Now let's check out your brand new gear. Now you look more like a warrior of light.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to learn and discover, and we've got a ways to go to get you there.
I meant to do that.
Alright, it's picking up, let's go. What's next? I'm still cringing, but this felt a bit more, you know, involved, let's say. Oh boy. Oh boy.
4. 999. 1,000.
What's going on here?
Yeah, we're just buffing up to prepare for some pretty major MSQs.
Well, seems like you've made a lot of progress in the story through your main scenario quest.
I think that they're still shoehorning this whole go do your main quest. Go do your main quest. Don't talk about anything. Don't do anything else. Go do your main quest. Holy shit.
Yes. Now, how about we take what you've learned at Hall of the Novice and try out your first dungeon?
Oh, love that. All right, Harold.
I wonder if they're going to say that that he should go directly into a dungeon, or if it's going to lead him into those pre-dungeons. That's how I call them. I don't remember their name. I never learned it. There are some forms of like pre-dungeons which are like super mini things that you can do with others. You can LFG for those as well. I've done every single one, by the way. And it does help a little bit with experience. I wonder if she's going to ignore that system and put him in a dungeon straight away. Let's see.
You are my everything.
Well, that warms my heart. Let's head over to the dungeon entrance. Now, to tackle a dungeon, we'll need 4 adventurers.
But look, I'm a lone wolf, all right? I fly solo.
Trust me, learning to be a team player in Final Fantasy IV...
Alright, and now here we go into the thicker shit. I wanna play solo, he says. Friend, this is an MMO. You know, you're supposed to want to play with others. I know what they're trying to say, like, you know, hold your horses, you need other players, which brings me to what I want to say later, which has to do with genre in general and how it fits or doesn't fit the current generation of gamers, or the previous 3 or 4, in fact. But I think they skipped the mini dungeons, the pre-dungeons as I call them, the pre-cam dungeons. I think they completely skipped those. Also, the fact that you need a certain amount of players. Yeah, I'm gonna go into that later. It has nothing to do with the video. Let's go.
14 will be well worth it. Just use the Duty Finder to begin automatically searching for a party. Select Duty here, then Duty Finder to pull up the tab. This is your first time, so you have the Dungeon Sestasha unlocked.
Yeah, they went directly into that. They completely ignored those pre-dungeons. At this point, I'm wondering like why they even exist. Anyway.
Select it and wait until a party is ready to join. As you progress, more dungeons will become available, each ready to be explored by a hotshot party of adventurers.
A hotshot party of adventurers? I mean, sure, maybe some are, you know, maybe some are. Okay, I'll let it fly, okay.
You can use your duty finder to play with your friends, or to form a party with available players, like we are now. Or try the duty support system to play with a group of NPCs. Each party member brings important skills.
Alright, so if you're giving the person their own squad of NPCs, like, at this point, there are so many things, like, oh man, I don't want to shit all over this. Yeah, okay, let's go.
From their role. There are damage dealing, or DPS classes, who take down enemies as quickly as possible. There are tanks like you, who are built to take as much damage as you throw at them, while keeping enemies away from their party. And the healers, who support the party by keeping everyone alive and kicking. Time to shine! Looks like we have a black mage and a dragoon joining as our DPS players.
What the fuck is a dragoon? Is that like, is she trying to say dragoon? A dragoon?
Mage and a dragoon joining as our DPS
okay.
players.
Dragoon. Let's go, dragoon, okay. Maybe my accent is shit, I don't know.
Remember, Kaz, as a tank, your job is to divert the enemy's attention and soak up their attacks. That way the healer, yours truly, can hang back and keep everyone alive, while our dragoon and black...
Whoa, wait a minute, what did she say the healer's job is here?
Yours truly, can hang back and keep everyone alive.
Holding back? Oh my god, they really want to reinforce this, you are this, you only do that. You are this, you only do that. Then, make it interesting and fucking enforce it in a creative and interesting way. Fuck, let's just go.
While our dragoon and black mage use their skills as DPS to do some serious damage. Each of you has an important role during combat, so remember to work together. Alright, Cash, show them how it's done.
You sure about this?
You've got it. Provoke it to draw its attention away from us.
Okay, you got it!
Notice that so far, she has not touched on the subject of sprinting and the subjects of AoE. Or healer damage or tank damage. Notice how she avoids talking about that. I want to see if she's going to keep avoiding it, shove it under the rug, or if they're gonna address that. I wonder.
Enemy reinforcements! Hold their attention while we take them down.
Oh, it worked!
Well done! When taking part in group content, any loot found in treasure coffers will be added to the loot list on the bottom right. Each character will roll either a need, greed, or pass, and the loot will be distributed automatically to the player who rolls the highest number. If the loot's designated for your class, you can roll need. Greed can be rolled if the loot isn't designated for your class, but you want a chance to receive it anyway.
Please, personal loot at this point, please.
Or you can pass if you don't want the item. Let's see what your party's earned.
Cool.
Whoa, you're in luck. Since the loot's designated for your class, you can roll need to claim them. Looks like someone isn't such a lone wolf after all.
Turns out life is a lot easier when you're part of a pack. Up top, Harold!
Yeah, a part of a pack for like just raiding. Cool. Okay, we can do this. 2 more. We can do this.
Oof, you're a little well done, huh?
We may have rushed into a trial a bit too quickly, but we're about to try again. It's fine.
Wow, taking on bosses with a group already? Well, luckily, I have plenty of advice for just such an
Oh, don't worry. We've got a plan. You mind opening up that portal thing you're always opening?
Oh, very exciting.
We take on Ifrit in the Bowl of Embers. Me, the White Mage, the Ninja, and the Summoner. We rushed in last time, but now we know what to do.
Alright, a few things here. First, and this ties into what I want to say later, the MMOs need to do away with the whole restriction thing and party thing. Keep that in mind, I want to talk about it later on. And he said, now we know what to do. Except, no, you don't. Because, you know, pretty soon, it becomes clear that you can't tell what to do in the game. You really can't tell. You have to watch guides. There comes a point where you have to watch guides. And that point comes very fast for most people. And Final Fantasy does a horrible job at communicating what the enemy is about to do. Because the names on the cast bars are ridiculously pompous and completely nonsensical and irrelevant to what is going on. And also visually they don't communicate it by their animations either. So no.
Just like the dungeons, each of us has an important role to play. As the tank, I hold Ifrit's attention to soak up as much damage as I can, while our DPS members chip away at his health, building up the limit break to deal a final blow. That way, the White Mage can stay out of harm's way and keep us alive. Last time, we thought Ifrit was our main target, but we realized the infernal nail he spawns is our key to victory.
Oh, smart thinking. Trials vary greatly, each with their own mechanics, which require a keen eye.
Then, I hold his attention while the team avoids his new area of effect attacks.
Dodging AoEs? Very impressive.
Over the course of the battle, the shared limit break gauge for the party has been filling up. We didn't notice it last time, but now we're ready. Once the limit break gauge is filled, it's the perfect time for our melee DPS to...
Alright, so about limit break. Well, there's some things to unpack here. Because of optimizations in DPS, sometimes limit break might actually be a DPS loss. Depending. Alright, depending. Now, when you have players that are terrible at DPSing, probably it's a gain. I don't know, but some of those things are so fucking long drawn animations that basically at the same time you could have been continuing your rotation and you would have done more damage in the end. It depends on your class rotation and on the circumstance. But limit break is underwhelming, is what I'm trying to say, and it should have been something very, very climactic to build towards. It's a good idea, it's just not done well. Anyway, let's go.
Ninja to use their LB and take the boss down with an ultimate attack.
Oh, also sometimes it's best to save it for your healer or your tank. Sometimes it's actually the optimal way of doing it. So this guide seems to imply that only the DPS should do it because, you know, it's like a super mega anime attack, and that's not the case. Anyway.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some adventuring to do.
Looks like your exploits have drawn some attention, and you've been invited to join a grand company of your choice. Either the Immortal Flames in Ul'dah, the Twin Adders in Gridania, or the Maelstrom in Limsa Lominsa. Grand companies are a great way to further customize your character. Unlock...
Alright, technically she's honest. Technically she's honest. They do offer some selection of gear, which... Let's just leave it at that. Technically she's being accurate. Technically. Alright? Very, very technically. But grand companies become irrelevant extremely quickly. And perhaps with so many... You know, with the game being bloated with so many subsystems that are irrelevant to each other and completely disconnected from the main goals of the game and the story even sometimes... maybe it's for the best that they become irrelevant.
Unlocking unique gear, special items, and even the ability to ride mounts. On that note, you might want to check out that special quest.
Chocobo mount, here I come.
I've never been more proud. And look, your first mount.
Yep, meet Gerald. He's Harold's new big brother. Say hi, Gerald. Whoa, whoa! That suit, Harold!
So, what's living in an egg like?
I wish that each company at least offered its own starting mount. Perhaps, for example, one of them could offer the Chocobo, obviously. Another could offer a straight-up horse, for example, and another could offer something else. Everyone riding chickens, but then again, I mean, I guess it's part of the lore at this point that everyone everywhere is riding chickens, canonically.
Tank has hit level 30 and already unlocked his first job?
She's so fucking condescending. If I had another player guide me like this in the game, I would just fucking quit the game at this point.
Come on, Mayra, don't cry. You promised.
I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, it only gets better from here. Here coming.
Whoa, how do I get one?
Same way I did, by recruiting your friends.
Oh my god. Hey, Jesus. Wow, you're gonna stoop this low. Okay, alright, no further comments. His expression is, right now, is like what I'm feeling. I'm exactly like this, like, hey, get your filthy paws off me. Fuck you. I'm not gonna recruit anyone. If I do, it's going to be because I want to. I don't need your beginner's guide telling me to recruit more people. What are you, a cult? Oh, wait, I forgot. Yes. You are a fucking cult, aren't you?
Really? Okay, Gaz. Now you don't cry.
You've come so far. You created a character and started your path on the MSQ, battled in fate.
The MSQ again. And you've gone so far, yeah. Well...
and earned fantastic loot in dungeons and trials using the Duty Finder. And you've only just started. The whole world of Final Fantasy XIV Online is still ahead of you. You could continue your adventure as a paladin, or unlock the other classes for a completely different approach to the game. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's chocobo racing and mini-games at...
No, that's not the tip of the iceberg. That's like all of the iceberg, including every fucking drop of water in the fucking ocean, including all of the ocean and the planet that the ocean is on. Seriously, there's nothing else. Everything else is fucking just irrelevant, like fucking contrivances. Let me just... yeah.
At the Gold Saucer, you can learn to craft your own weapons, potions, and armor as a disciple of the hand. Oh, and you haven't even seen much of the world yet, like or and then you get to join the of the and fight the old and la. And the story, the lore. I don't want to.
And the story and the lore. Hey, lady, if I want to play a single-player game, why would I not play a single-player game? If you wanted to make a single-player game, why didn't you make a single-player game?
Spoil it for you, but it is quite the ride. Oh, speaking of which...
Yes, please. Okay, just one quick ride. I'll be right back, you two.
Don't worry, they'll snap out of it soon enough. Hold on tight.
Woo! So, when am I gonna get to Heaven's Ward?
One step at a time, big guy.
Yeah, stay in ARR as much as you can, and then get brain damage. Yes, don't even try to go into Heaven's Ward. Yeah, just stay in ARR. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to recruit a friend. And I saw there's a side quest where I have to deliver cookies. Are those cookies up for grabs or what? And I saw some new great town.
Wait a fucking minute. Yeah. No. The underwater stuff is yeah. And anyway, let's whatever. Let me end it. Spoilers. No, you should just. I don't have any words to describe it in its totality, in its, in its 100%. Like what we just watched. I can only characterize it as. I'll be a bit British and I'll say it's overly optimistic. Yeah, it is overly optimistic. I think I'm allowed to leave it at that. And hey, at least I guess at least they tried to. I guess they made a thing that maybe someone can watch that like is 2 years old and benefit benefit from. Listen, let's move on. Fuck this shit, man. Yeah. So no. Okay, let's forget that we saw that. Let's instead have a look at this mess here. Which, holy fuck, I want to go through it, and we're gonna go through it together, and I will read to you what I'm reading. Like I'm gonna fucking read it out loud. Let's see. And this is good because I want to talk about guilds before I talk about MMOs. Wow. All right. So this is apparently one of those guilds that are or were, I guess. Famously dogmatic, all right, and you can tell because upon introduction you're already met with like the 3 cycles there, the 3 circles that unite and they form like these guys are already fucking full cult mode already. They're already like the Council of High Mages or something. And when I say High Mages, I mean like they're fucking stoned. But I will also play the devil's advocate while I'm reading this, because there are some things that even though they definitely exaggerate on, they come from necessities, unfortunately. Though obviously this is fucking ridiculous. It's fucking stretched to infinity and beyond. But it does start with some various problems that do exist in MMOs. But yeah, let's go on. So these guys here suggest that they've built their guild around 3 pillars, and that's the tanks code. If I can make that. Alright, yeah, it's a tanks code. Cool. The healer's creed. Wow. And the rules of engagement. Because I guess they couldn't find a third word for the. Because what were they going to say? The aggressors' wet dreams, Anyway, good job, whatever. The 3 major roles of Final Fantasy: tanking, healing, and DPS. All right. Let's see. The Foundation of Dreadworm Academy Teaching. The 3 Pillars. Written by the founding president. Oh man, who is this guy? Hey, who's the president? Come on. There is no picture of the president? What are you doing? Where's the fucking picture of the president, bro? Alright, by the founding president on day 1, on ground zero. That's what. Anyway, okay. Let me just. Alright, so these 3 core documents. Documents? Weird. Serve as the guiding hand for all teaching precepts of These 3 core documents serve as the guiding hand for all teaching precepts of any job. So they are you saying that they are side notes? Because they're making a big deal of them. Anyway, whether you're a tank or a healer, we expect very specific behavior. Oh, that's already fucking starting weird. In any situation and at all times. Holy shit. We also expect this of other players in game. Oh, yeah, so... Did I read that right? We also expect this of other players regardless of whether or not they're in the guild. Wow. That's not gonna fly. Well, anyway, those who do not observe these pillars, observe the pillars, oh my god, are judged as wholly reckless. Those who do not observe the pillars are judged as wholly reckless, foolish, worthless, and or misguided. Oh my god, alright, so only forgiven by being new or misled. We do not compromise. We do not relent. For the Emperor. Holy shit. Those who join the Academy are strongly urged to know these pillars by heart and soul. Failure to do so will lead to your demise and ridicule. You shall be known forever as a traitor and excommunicated and hunted down across the expanses of the universe. If not worse. So they are fucking promoting the shaming of other players. If not worse. What are you going to do that is worse? Are you going to like what? Like make aggressive sounds over Discord? Well, alright. As harsh as it sounds, you will find these concepts are common sense and not unreasonable in terms of being able to do these things. I'm going to look into that. Alright, I'll take your word. Let me read on. The tank's code. You're a tank. Am I like an Abrams? Your job is to hold aggro and keep your party safe. So far so good. Dealing damage while necessary is only there to serve as a function of aggression management. Killing things is not and will never be your priority. Well, I mean, if things don't die, if you don't contribute to killing things, how are they going to die? First off, because, you know, the longer they stay alive, the more we are in danger as a party. Plus, I mean, these abilities obviously have damage tied to them, therefore they're meant to do damage, therefore what the fuck. Okay. This is not completely wrong. You are supposed to handle aggression. And killing is not really your priority, but of course it's going to happen. And of course you should not hold back in dealing damage, ever. Your job is to hold aggro and keep your party safe. This is so 50-50. I can't quite approve this. Almost sounds reasonable. But yeah, you know, it almost sounds reasonable actually. Okay, killing things is not and will never be your priority. Yeah, okay, but they don't say that you can't do it, you know. And of course, as long as you're holding aggro, you're dealing damage. Therefore, you are killing things essentially. Yeah, no, I'll say that this one gets a pass. Maybe it's a 50-50. All right, aggression management or holding aggro is key to your success. Yes, what you pull, you own. Okay, any tank who can't hold aggro from the start of a pull to the very end is a total and utter failure. You're gonna hate me. I will completely agree. As far, with one exception, what you pull you own has certain implications there. What if a DPS pulls to help you round up mobs? Shouldn't you then take advantage of that? But they're not clearly saying that they're against it. They're just saying what you pull you own. I.e., in the context, you should keep that aggro if you pull it as a tank. And they're not referring to DPSs. They're just saying as a tank, what you will pull, you must own. It must be yours. You must retain its aggro throughout the encounter. No, this gets a pass. All right. How you pull is predicated on your ability to manage your aggression and cooldowns. If you pull too much and die, it's on you. Yes. You do not blame your party for your decisions. Yes. This gets a pass. Tanks who do not gear properly are doomed to fail. Whatever duty you walk into, you own and take responsibility. Yes. This takes a clear and resounding yes. Communication is key. Tanks are considered de facto party leaders. No. It's immediately yes into a no. The same sentence. Communication is key. But tanks are not always the party leaders, the farty leaders. Maybe they are farty leaders, but they're not the party leaders always. While they may not be making callouts, they start the run and end the run. No. Sorry. They don't start and end anything. If you fail to communicate, you only have yourselves to blame. Yes, sure. Dodge damage and avoid unnecessary risks. As a tank, you're not just some lump of meat with a shield. Play smart. Dodge what can be dodged. Don't go in blindly without common sense. Blaming your healer for failing to keep you alive for damage you could avoid is foolishness. Dante. Yes, this takes a resounding yes. Party-wide mechanics are not to be ignored. Tanks who intentionally avoid mechanics are not tanks but liabilities and should be removed. Yes. I agree. The healer's creed. So far, the tank's code, solid. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It could be written a lot less aggressively. But I agree with the core of it, the healer's creed. You're a healer, not a tank, nor a DPSer. Nope, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong here. You are all of these as a healer. You are literally the only class who can do all of these to a degree. Your job is to heal your party and keep them alive. And you should be doing all of this up until the moment where the tank needs to tank and the DPS needs to DPS. Up until then, you're free to go. Your job is to heal your party and keep them alive. Yes, cool. You DPS when you're idle and obviously when necessary. Hey, they know what's up. You DPS when you're idle and obviously when necessary. Yeah, very cool. But this is not correct. Your mana is your lifeblood. Do not compromise your mana pool. If you're low, slow down. Stop DPS and use your cooldowns. This would have been correct if mana management wasn't irrelevant. I never had mana problems and I was DPSing very, very hard. That is because you can use your cooldowns to heal people instead of your spells. Anyway, so this I mean, it's good advice, but it's theoretical because you don't need to stop DPSing if you time everything perfectly. And if your tank, follows this, then yeah. Healers dodge damage, not take it. While some things can be dodged, the healer who takes unnecessary damage, the dead healer. Wow, that is like stating the obvious. But I mean, who is this even necessary? There's no such thing as a main healer or off healer. You are co-healers. You support one another. Shoulder your load. I will agree. I will agree. Though you know, in reality, you do designate main healer, off healer. But I know what they're saying. I know what he's trying to say here. Healers have cooldowns that help manage mana and speed. Use them wisely. Woe to the healer who has need of swift cast but can't because they use it foolishly. The wording is pompous as fuck, obviously, very condescending, but yeah. Healers must use Asuna, that's a dispel. Not ignore it. Asuna saves you work and effort. Asuna follows your party to function, and only using it on poison or burns is testimony to your foolishness. Dante. Yeah, but like, why do you have to be such an asshole about it? Like, yeah. So this is mostly correct. So far, I don't see like anything completely ridiculous. The DPSer's rules of engagement. Alright, your job is to kill things. With efficiency and ruthlessness? It's a game! Oh, are you feeling ruthlessness when you're murdering mobs? Really? That is like a level of immersion on its own. Well, I guess though... Yeah, okay, I guess yes. With lots of question marks towards the second half of the sentence. Okay. DPS always dodge damage. Eating damage or ignore mechanic causes healer stress and party wipes. Yes, totally. Most DPS jobs have utilities and auxiliary abilities. Know them, use them. Don't be lazy. Yeah, I mean party buffs, right? That's what he means. Or she. It is correct, yeah. Unless of course, what they mean by that is that you should always include in your rotation Bloodbath. You should always include in your rotation Second Wind. You should always... Like, that is a mistake, obviously. Alright. Know your role type and its purpose. Its job has different nuances and requirements. Now, is he saying... I wonder if they're so stupid that they're implying that a summoner can't be close to an opponent, and just because they're a caster they should stay back. If they mean something like that, they're complete morons. I completely disagree. But if what they mean is like basically know your rotation and your class, then I agree. Your party is your team. Take care of your team, don't murder them. I mean, you can't... How would you murder them? There's no, like... Would you PvP them? In the dungeon? That's not technically possible. Like, what do you mean don't fucking murder them? If the rest are following these rules, then and the DPS is following this rule and this rule, then this rule can't happen. So since they're including all this is unnecessary. It can't happen. A DPS who plays as a tank is not a DPS. If you pull it, you will know. Ah, there we go. There we go with that toxic nonsense. No, this behavior is toxic as fuck. No, as a DPS, I will pull and I will bring it to my tank and they will take it. They should be able to. This is completely wrong. Same goes for healers. Anyway, DPSers are not healers, but they should support as best as they can. How? How? Does he mean... Does the guy writing this... Is he implying that... What is he implying? If you want to see it optimistically, what they mean is basically... If you're a red mage, you might have to res. If you're a summoner, you might have to res. That's all. There's nothing else. So say that. Instead of this weird shit that doesn't make sense. Limit break is not a toy. Use it correctly, don't waste it on trash. No, that's wrong. It's best to use limit break on trash pools than on a boss. For the reasons that I mentioned while watching that other video. It's actually far more beneficial in dungeons. Holy shit, this is wrong. Alright. Closing remarks. Wow, alright. The majority of content in game is not savage content, like the louder population. The louder population. What louder population? There's like 10 guys and their friends are like doing savage in this game. And yeah, this is correct. The majority of content is not savage, but if all this seems to have been written with savage in mind, though. What? The three pillars are so this is wrong. The three pillars are foundational concepts that prevent players from doing very nasty things. Like what? Like picking their nose with their fingers? What does... You know, let's go on. While there are likely some obvious exceptions, the core concepts and ideas are sound and will not change regardless. The force behind the words is unanimously agreed upon and shared with all members of DWA. The force behind the words is unanimously agreed upon. The force behind the words is unanimously... What? We expect to play the game for fun and with progress. Believe it or not, these help you have fun. Those of which I agreed with, those little rules that I agreed with from throughout this document, they are meant to to promote progress. And fun, I'm not sure about. Fun is more subjective because, for example, someone has more fun dying to stuff in funny ways, which can be fun. It can be entertaining, you know. However, that is why you should clarify with your group whether or not a certain attempt at a certain thing is going to be just for laughs, or if it's going to be some kind of organized progress-oriented, like foray, let's say, right? Anyway, not recklessly and haphazardly, because one person felt it was too trivial to care. Yeah, okay. We take pride in our work, not just have fun, alright, whatever. As such, those who join or encounter DWA will be judged and measured by the above pillars in all things. So basically what they're saying with this is that if you hear us shit-talking others, keep in mind that we're shit-talking them based on how we operate. In other words. And I'm being generous here. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that this is what they mean. If that's what they mean, it's reasonable. Believe it or not, it's fucking reasonable. I agree with them. Okay. Final Fantasy was designed with obvious intent and mechanics. We do not ignore those concepts. But by saying this, you're contradicting these. Because it is intended for tanks to deal damage. It is intended for healers to deal damage. You can use your limit break on trash. It's good, depending. So this is like just contradictory. All right, so what do I give this? Would I write something like that for my guild? No, I wouldn't write something like that. I would instead. All right, so I'm gonna be super fair. Here it comes. I'm gonna be super fair. I would go for 60 to 70% of what these guys are saying. I would try to say those things in a much better way, much more neutrally presented, and perhaps a little better worded, and without the whole weird stuff like this, like failure to do so will lead to your demise and ridicule as a poor player. I wouldn't shit talk anyone for trying to adjust to a playstyle that a guild of mine might want to be after. I wouldn't do that. I would, however, I have talked a lot of shit about ex-members of my guilds, plural, when they are, when our goals are communicated to them clearly, but they very blatantly fail to understand them and don't care to understand them through multiple opportunities. And then they kind of do become laughing stock at that point. And you know what? Yeah, but you don't write that stuff. You don't. But remember what I said, that this comes from a place of necessity. It feels as if they are trying to prevent it from happening by going a few steps forward and assuming that this will happen, and therefore that to prevent it, we have to make clear that you understand you're gonna be treated like shit. I understand where they're coming from, believe it or not, I do. I really do. But you shouldn't word those things. Of course you're allowed to laugh at an idiot. I mean, I laugh at myself when I'm being a fucking moron in games. For being a moron in games. But, like, you don't have to say it. You don't have to write anywhere like, hey, oi, if you fuck up, mate, you're gonna get laughed at, alright? Like, why? No, it never really happened to the degree that you see here. There was never any necessity for such a thing, because at that point you basically kick them, or they basically already leave on their own. If they can't, keep it together, they just don't participate, and then they go inactive, and then you remove them or they leave, and there is no need for all this unpleasantry, So, yeah. And how does that tie in with, like, what I wanted to say, you might ask? Well, it does. Well, let me fucking close this. I don't need it anymore, do I? It does, because that's the thing, actually. I have had enough experience with guilds now. New background, right? And I even assorted my icons in a way that it looks cool. Anyway, so I've had enough experience to be able to tell you that there's a lot of idiots out there. When I say idiots, right, I don't necessarily mean that they can't tie their shoes in real life, but definitely what I mean is that they really aren't, like, as far as gaming goes, it's not their forte. All right, let's put it that way. And some of them, most of them, do have severe problems communicating, which means that you end up with lots of people in your guild that, whose intentions might be good, alright? And they might genuinely be interested in joining a guild and whatnot. But they fall apart. They fall apart performance-wise, they fall apart social-wise, because obviously, I mean, what's the point of having a guild, right? It's to have a group of active and sociable members, right? Who group together in order to, no surprise there, tackle group content, right? That's what you want to do. That's why you gather more players. That's the idea. The driving force behind the guild is that. Not all guilds are like that, but guilds that are actually PvE oriented or PvP oriented, that's like, make no mistake. The fucking goal is to have people to play with consistently, reliably, people who can do some things for you and you can do some things for them. You can play tank for them, they can play heal for you. You can, like, assign roles, you can go and do some stuff in the game that otherwise is going to be not fun for you, and you're also not going to progress. That is the goal of guilds, right? And so when like when the retention, when you start setting, let me put it from the beginning, like let me take it from the beginning. So you start and you're like, well, what kind of people would I want in my guild? And you start saying things like normal people who can actually click buttons, you know, they can actually do the rotations, they can actually understand the game, they can actually play, you know. And the moment you set even those very low standards, you're already looking at terrible retention. You're already looking at terrible retention. I've seen it with my own eyes. Not just in my guilds, but in other guilds as well. I've discussed with other guild leaders, I've discussed with other recruiters in Final Fantasy and in Guild Wars 2, and it's always the same fucking shit. And everyone is fucking distraught with that thing. Yeah. So I can see if for example you become very, very agitated because you know you can't have retention, you don't get to keep players because players are not good, and you start bleeding players, and you're frustrated with new players who, you know, you tell them like, we want people who can actually press buttons. They go like, yeah. Can you press buttons? Yeah. Do you understand the game? Yeah. Do you know how to dodge? Yeah. And then you go into the first fucking combat, and guess who dies first, like over 10-20 times, causing wipes. Now imagine doing that like 100 times over, 100 times in a row, 160 times in a row. And then you'll find one gem, alright? And it's that one gem you don't want to lose, and you are going to lose that gem if you begin with like, you're going to be laughed at, you're going to be scapegoated, you're going to be ridiculed, woe to you, we're gonna find where you live and murder your cat. Like, what? So that's where these guys are wrong, right? This Dreadworm Academy, that's where they're wrong, but also what they're saying does have a basis. All right, even if what they're saying, you know, what they're saying is terrible, in a terrible way, it comes out of necessity, frustration, and probably maturity. But still, even so, I actually can relate. And this brings me to MMOs in general, because listen, the whole MMO setup of hey, how long have I been streaming, by the way? What the fuck? Oh, not even 2 hours. All right, that's very awesome, actually. Because I was thinking, you know, maybe I fucked up and it's like 4 hours now, but no, fortunately no. So I can keep on yapping, can't I? So yeah, what was I saying? What the fuck was I saying? Fuck. God damn it. Oh, right, yeah. So here's the thing. Back when the grandfathers of the MMOs that you play right now, and that I play right now, launched, they were social experiments more than anything else. And as such, they immediately drew a certain crowd who was ready to meet others, to adventure with them, to meet people from around the world. To like, there was a certain wonderment about it. There was a certain, you know, audience attracted to the idea of something so novel and so grand, right? And you know, they brought with them certain things. Some brought toxicity, even from the very first days, yes. But the majority brought only curiosity, patience, you know, the will to socialize, the will to approach others, and to fucking be adversarial with them. They brought some respect and some lack of respect. They brought many things, and there were many people, and they all had a lot of patience when it comes to the game itself, and they all realized that this game is meant to be forever. You know, a game that never ends. That was the magic of it. That you're building a life, right? A life that you can't live anymore in real life, a medieval life, a life of fantasy, a life of adventure, a life of, you know, and if I sound pretty crazy right now, it's on purpose to show you how amazing it felt, right? And as such, there were lots of people, lots and lots and lots of acquaintances to make, and the people who were playing those games had a lot of time in their hands and a lot of like will to stay logged in, and that enabled a lot of communication and a lot of like conversations and you know, that kind of thing. But right now, and so wait before we go on, and that made sense then, that you would be able to go to the local tavern and like hire a tank, you know, and all that fucking weird shit. Or you would wait outside the dungeon for a tank without feeling like a moron. Because there were lots of people playing, you were bound to find someone, maybe you would meet them somewhere else, and then you decide, hey, you know, we plan to go do that dungeon tomorrow in the morning with, you know, with my crew. Do you want to tag along? And then you would bring them along, and they would meet your friends, and you know, you would even spend some time socializing outside of the dungeon. I'm not saying don't fucking confuse this with LFG is bad. LFG is the devil. No. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that it was logical to expect certain things that are basic for an MMO to function, which things you can't expect anymore. Therefore, MMOs can't fucking function with those archaic formulas anymore. What I'm trying to say is that instead of making an MMO, devs and companies should be focusing on how gamers actually play games. And how gamers actually play games now is like one and done, like in and out. Use any fucking euphemism you want, alright? Maybe one and done is not exactly appropriate, since they will come back, obviously. But you get what I'm saying, right? They want to go in, have some fun, go out, click some buttons, 20 minutes maximum, do some dailies, get the fuck out of there. No time to lose, no time for conversation, no time for LFGs, no time for fucking social stuff, no time even to learn the game. Nothing. Now this creates a few problems, right? This creates a few problems that essentially disable completely the MMO formula as a whole. Where basically, at this point, it would be better to have them indeed set up as single-player games with a persistent world. And what I mean by that is that you can co-op with your friends, but you don't need a healer, you don't need a tank, alright? The pretentiousness of Guild Wars not having Trinity, I'm not even gonna touch that. That's like, dude, that's pretentious. Of course it has a Trinity, alright? But what I'm saying is it shouldn't, and no other game should either. Persistent world cooperative games is what MMOs should evolve into. Maybe throw in the word scaling in there to give people the clear, you know, sign that the content will scale to them and their X number of friends with whom they're gonna roll. If they so decide. And that it can be played solo as well. Now, I know that it sounds like I'm contradicting myself when I say that, and at the same time condemn Final Fantasy for having a strong story and all that, whatever, and like trying to focus on the story, alright? But here's the thing. Final Fantasy is not trying to be a persistent world, single-player, cooperative, scaling game. It's trying to be an MMO of the old ones. But it's telling you, focus on the fucking story. But you're trying to be an MMO. I'm not playing you for the fucking story. Fuck you then. Anyway, just to get that out of the way, alright? But yeah, I think MMOs at this point should do away with classes. Not that healers shouldn't be viable. Not that tanks shouldn't be viable. Not that hybrids shouldn't be viable. But they should be viewed rather as a bonus than a necessity. Alright, and it can be done. It can be done. But the core of the classes should be self-sustainable, should be mostly DPS oriented, and all the content should scale around that. That the person with a DPS mainly class and with self-sustain should be able to do all content, including so-called raids. All content. Now, if they want to bring a friend, that's fine. The fight should scale. If that friend doesn't want to be a tank, that's fine. If the friend doesn't want to be a healer, that's also fine. If they do want to be that, they might make certain things easier, other things harder. Not impossible though. If they want to be a DPS as well, maybe they will kill faster, but maybe because of the scaling, the fight might hurt a little more, meaning that the duo, the dynamic duo, should avoid attacks more consistently. But not that it should be difficult beyond reason. So scaling content, no classes, right? A persistent world, and just I would be putting so many fucking hours on all MMOs right now. I would be playing Final Fantasy, I would be playing World of Warcraft, I would be playing Guild Wars as well. All of them, if they did that. If the world was persistent as it is now, so they should keep that MMO element. If there existed classes other than DPS, so that's another MMO element. But that's where the similarities should end. I should be able to do everything on my own, on any class that I want, right? With as many friends as I want. There shouldn't be like a hard limit. There shouldn't be, if I want to play Final Fantasy and bring 10 people to a dungeon, let me do just that. Just scale the fucking dungeon. It's that simple. Scale it. And let me have fun. Well, maybe a hard cap should be necessary to avoid certain breaking points. Like can't have 50 people in the same dungeon. Although that would be fun, by the way. But you know what I mean, right? And I think that should be how MMO should go forward. I don't think... for example, I'm so fed up with fucking having to have a certain amount of players minimum. I'm fed up with having to have certain classes and having to look for those classes on LFG. I'm fucking tired of LFG. I'm fucking tired of the morons that I have to rely on. It's unbelievable. There's nothing social about it anymore either. There's really nothing fucking social about it. There's nothing at all. Why is it an MMO then? You know what I mean? Because they did start as social experiments. They did start as a social experience. If they wanted to start it as a game that is single player, they would have, trust me. But they didn't. And no one gave a fuck about their story. Everyone gave a fuck about their characters, who also weren't main characters. They were just characters. And that was amazing, you know. That needs to come back, you know? But that is irrelevant because, I mean, even if that doesn't come back, that's all the more reason to be able to do all the content on your own, right? Now you might say, what's the difference then? If I can save the game, right? Doesn't that make it a persistent world? So Skyrim, for example, right? If I save the game and log back in, it's like nothing happened while I was away, right? That can be good and bad. That can be either, depending on how you view it. But you know, persistent worlds give you a certain motive to come back to them. Whether it be annual events, whether it be to catch an event that you want, you know, something to keep you playing, let's say. Something to keep you on your toes and playing more than you should, perhaps. Or okay, I'll be polite, more than you would if it was a single player game. Because if it was a single player game, you could say, okay, let me drop it and I'll come back like in a year, right? And that means that for that time you're not playing the game. So you know that hurts the company that wants to run a persistent, you know, game. So I don't see why it can't work, because if they give you the reason to do it, and they say, okay, the world is persistent. We're gonna be running some events. There's gonna be stuff happening. You wanna log in, and while you're in there, you should look cool. Here's a new skin, right? So in essence, by doing this, they're not like by moving away from the old MMO stuff, they're doing more good than bad, right? Because I mean, the social aspect already has collapsed. People don't have enough time. Some of them don't want to fucking bother. They just want to play with their friend, and that's all. And they want to be able to do all the content. Again, as I said, I personally would play the fuck of a lot more. A fuck of a lot more if I could do everything with just like my friends without like needing other people. And again, that doesn't mean that, you know, that tanks would go away. It doesn't mean that like, you know, healers would go away. No, not at all. Because for example, even in Grim Dawn, which is a Diablo clone, in case you don't know it, you of course everyone is mainly a DPS, right? With some self-sustain, with potions. You know how Diablo clones are, right? But if someone wants to heal, if you're playing with 3 friends, let's say, right? And of course the content is gonna scale to you, right? And one of you wants to heal to make things easier for you. Well, guess what? It does happen. I was playing, for example, we were playing with Neris and Krul and another person. We were playing like a 4P session, which lasted a while. You know, we were progressing, in which Krul was like a DPS off tank. Literally, he was just like he did have like a lot of more hit points and armor, and was also having defensive stuff as well as offensive stuff. I was playing a beefy Inquisitor plus soldier, if I remember correctly, with 2 hand and like some fucking healing and buffing stuff. Buffed our resistances, could heal us a little bit, also dealt damage. Everyone had their place. Everyone felt a little bit different. Enough to say, oh, you know, I didn't die from that mob of monsters. I didn't have a problem, you know, holding them back, whatever. I mean, it made the gameplay interesting. All right. So I don't see how this is bad, or how it would kill tanks, or how it would kill healers, or would kill anything at all. Right? Especially because, for example, Guild Wars doesn't have potions, right? It doesn't have those, or Final Fantasy doesn't have this system of potions where you have a belt with potions and you're clicking on them constantly to heal up, you know. You could argue that then, in that case, healers would be even more appreciated, tanks would be even more appreciated, right? So it's not going to be their end or anything. But the need for Trinity needs to go away. And I'm not talking the pretentious way Guild Wars does it. I'm talking like really go away, you know. Scaling needs to be introduced, but the world needs to be kept persistent, right? And I think that's how things should go forward. And that ties in with guilds, because all the things that I mentioned, the existence of those things, so the need for Trinity, the LFG system, the pretension, the suggestion that it's still a social experience, pretending it's still a social experience, all of these things are what necessitate guilds and statics, right? And guilds and statics are fucking frustrating. Statics less than guilds, by the way, which is very ironic and also proves my point that all this is now collapsing because people would rather be in a static than in a guild. Alright? And the guild can have a static, but a static doesn't have to have a guild. So guilds are already fucking collapsing. And it's already a pain in the ass to maintain them. It's already a pain in the ass to maintain the servers. It's a pain in the ass to organize them, especially that. It's a pain in the ass to communicate with everyone that you don't fucking know, trying to tell them, hey, don't be an asshole. If you're a tank, you have to tank. If you're like what those Dreadworm guys were saying, right? But in a better way. That's why I said that this shit is coming from a place of necessity and frustration, even though it's terribly written, all right, and it's horrible and offensive. It still makes sense though, because they're trying to fucking hold it together, when in reality what should happen is like let it go completely, and like Square should turn this into a single player / co-op persistent world scaling experience. End of story. Alright, and statics as well are fucking collapsing. Like, not a lot of people are forming statics. Like, what are we speaking of? What game? Well, all games, all MMOs right now have the same problem with guilds and statics. They have the same problem. But I was using Final Fantasy and Guild Wars 2 as an example because I've spent the majority of time running guilds in those, and statics. So I'm using those as a, because I couldn't say for MapleStory, for example, because I don't play MapleStory, so, I do play Guild Wars 2. Well, Final Fantasy I stopped, but I mean, it's still here, and I still am subscribed, but I don't play it anymore. And so, yeah, that's what I meant, and that's how all this ties together. What do you play? Guild Wars 2, currently. But even that is pretty shaky. Exactly because of the problems that I described. Yeah, as far as MMOs go, I only play Guild Wars 2 right now, yeah. And I don't have the strength to go into another. Exactly because of all this trouble you have to go through to actually tackle endgame content and meaningful content, not fishing or I don't know what else. But yeah, that's why I was saying that it's such a fucking hassle. I would be playing a lot more with a lot less stress if it was simply a persistent world, co-op experience that scales to the number of players properly. Without the necessity of Trinity and LFG and pretending that guilds are meaningful or pretending that statics don't fall apart. And that was my argument. Yeah, anyway. I mean, as a guild leader especially, in both games, I'm so fucking tired. I've spent more time organizing and managing than playing. Get something for the guild? Nah, I think it's too late for that. To get, unless, like, how do you mean? Wait, how do you mean? Before I say anything. Like combat buff or like a more XP or more DPS or more healing or G versus G. No, I think that that would create other problems where people would join guilds just to get the buffs and all that. I don't think, like, it would create also the same problems in terms of organization and finding members and filtering members and training members and getting to know the members to see if you fit together. It's such a nightmare. I mean, it's so much easier to just get a few friends, play it as a co-op game, play the shit out of it, like go farm your raids, go do everything that you want to do. It's so much easier. So much easier, honestly. And really, I haven't seen, like, I've discussed this with a few people. You have hardcore and softcore. Well, yeah, I mean, there is nothing that would stop you. Let's first tackle the hardcore part. Well, the hardcore part is what I'm talking about. Like, this is like the case with hardcore stuff, like with endgame guilds. You want to do PV, you want to raid, you want to have some meaningful dungeon runs, you want to have some farms, that is the reason why I say that hardcore guilds are just not working anymore, right? As for softcore guilds, if we assume for a moment that, like, what I say happens, and let's take, for example, what do you want to take? Let's take Guild Wars, right? My most recent. Let's take Final Fantasy. Nothing would stop players if there was no guild system, if there was no no non-scaling content, and if there was like, as it is right now, basically, what would change? Nothing. They would still be able to get together and fish, because it still is going to be a persistent world, right? So that part of it is gonna stay, meaning that these guys can meet in the game and go fish together, for example. Yeah, sure, it's a social game most of the time. But what I'm saying is not mutually exclusive with the existence of those, let's say, guilds that do social stuff. Because at that point, what is a guild at that point? It's basically a few guys on a server who chose to have like a guild that, for example, goes for fishing. They can still do that. Whether the content is going to be scaling, whether or not guilds exist as a system, whether or not you need classes or Trinity, they'd still fish just fine in both scenarios. So nothing of what I'm suggesting would affect anything else but the true end game, for example, or hardcore guilds. And in fact, it would make their life much, much easier. And it would also make it more possible for other people to experience that content. Because if you don't need a healer, if you don't need a tank, and if the content scales, these people can actually go by themselves, even though they're a fishing guild. They can come together and just play. Well, they can still do that. A group of players that just chill, they can just still do that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything should be soloable. And cooperation should be optional. And there should be no Trinity. And of course, the content should scale. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because players don't have the time, especially those who want to do endgame stuff or dailies or stuff like that. They don't have the time or the patience anymore for roles and for non-scaling stuff and for minimum required players and for minimum required effort and all that stuff. They just want to have fun, and I absolutely agree with them and I understand them. Even though I've been I'm 40 years old, I've seen like a lot of MMOs. Well, you're looking for some chill players to chill. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? And I'm not being sarcastic. Like, legit, that's like the ideal thing is exactly that. I'm just arguing that the way that I suggest content should work would then mean that you can take your friends that you're chilling with and also do other stuff, because you're no longer bound by forced socialization. You're no longer bound by forced classes or forced minimum required players. You're no longer forced to be in guilds, Yeah. You feel lonely most of the times. Yeah, I really can relate. I really can relate. But the worst kind of loneliness, just like in real life, is when you're among others and you still feel lonely, because even though you're with your friends, you can't do stuff because that stuff requires this or that role, this number of players, this kind of organization, and you can't take Bob and Jim and go in a dungeon and do it reliably because the game says so in 2022. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore, this design. Well, yeah, but in the system that I'm suggesting, you will be saving a lot of time, because you will no longer need to wait in an LFG. You will no longer need to equip a second class. You'll just take your class, Jim and Bob take their classes, and you go and you have fun. It's very easy to do. Because I also start I also started feeling that games don't respect your time anymore. Well, MMOs don't respect your time anymore. They're forcing you to go through all those hoops of, again, all those stuff that we were talking about. By the way, a lot of people play to be alone. Like it's weird. They're playing MMOs to be alone in them. That is strange to me. But hey, you know, the system I'm suggesting would also cater to them. Well, I guess I can see where they're coming from. Like if they're super social in real life, maybe MMOs are their escape and they want to escape from socializing. And they do that in an MMO because exactly it offers a persistent world with persistent progress. Therefore, something they can just mindlessly fire up and just play, you know? And that's why I think that that part should be retained. Like the persistent world part should be retained. It's just the rest around it that is archaic at this point. It's outdated. And that's also the reason why I don't want to play any other MMOs anymore. Like the Riot Games one is coming out, you know, the Arcane / League of Legends one is coming out, and I don't want to fucking touch it because even though it might be amazing, it's still gonna be like hop on the LFG, gear up a second and a third class. What MMO? What not MMO do you play? Well, currently it's just Skyrim, but I am also waiting for Dead Space, which I absolutely love the whole series, and I'm waiting for Callisto Protocol as well, which also is from the guys who initially made Dead Space 1. And beyond that, well, whatever else strikes my fancy. So, for example, I also want to play Baldur's Gate once it's fully released, because I'm not a fan of early access or for a game that is like you pay it now and you get like one chapter and then you wait 3 years. I mean, I don't like that. So I'll just play that when it's fully released, you know. I did the same with Divinity, for example. I didn't immediately buy it and just played like the first chapter. Like, you know, I don't like that at all. And beyond that, sometimes I might revisit like some other old games that I like Fear, some stuff like that, you know. I just, but mostly Skyrim, mostly modded, like really heavily modded Skyrim. That's what I stream mostly. That's what I like to play. It kind of covers what I need. But yeah, today I just wanted to review, like, not review, react to like this weird Final Fantasy guide that I did in the beginning, and to like a very strange website of a guild in Final Fantasy. I don't think they're around anymore. But like the moment I saw it, I was like, oh, I have to read it and react on stream to that. Like, I definitely do. And yeah, it kind of tied into what I wanted to talk about today, which was just chilling and talking about guilds and MMOs in general. Kind of fit the theme, let's say. Oh, me too. I totally suffer from that. I totally suffer from that, honestly. I have no friends or friend. Well, I guess one contains the other. Um, I don't have any advice for that. Honestly, there can be so many reasons why someone doesn't or does have friends that like even trying to go into it, like holy shit, it's such a huge conversation. How is Void? Well, we are getting by, but as you may have guessed from today's stream, I am starting to get fed up with the whole system of guilds and the whole system of LFG and relying on others in any game. But we're holding up. I mean, we do raid regularly, which is okay. And I'm very happy that we can at least have up to 7 or 8 people of our own. Because if you know me, then you know that like I really have no patience for LFG people, for pugs, like zero patience. So the lesser of them that we have to take with us, the better. But yeah, no, right now we're like at a point where we can do most content that we want. You know, we're gonna start training for CM raids and stuff. I'm still thinking to install Guild Wars 2 again. It has. So here's the thing, because of how MMOs are, because of their core not being compatible with modern times, because they're still, you know, Trinity related, Trinity dependent, not related, and LFG dependent, and like guild dependent and all that. All of those games, all of the MMOs, they still have those issues where, you know what you're going into, and you just have to pick your poison. Whether your poison is Guild Wars, whether it's like Final Fantasy, you just have to pick. Yeah, I know. That's because most of them aren't really doing anything that requires voice. From my experience and from talking with other like guild leaders and other recruiters, as I said earlier, you know, people join a guild and then they just sit there and then they do nothing. You can interview them. They will always just tell you what you want to hear. Like, are you gonna raid with us? Yes. Are you gonna do this? Yes. I do all these things. And then week 1 goes by and maybe they join you in one thing and then they're basically ghosted. That's it. They're ghosting you. And that's like 90% of the players out there. And it's not just voice. Yeah, 99.9. I was just trying to be fair there, you know. And even if I've observed this much, even the 7 people among us with whom I do content regularly, it's not often that they will be active in chat, for example. It's rare. Well, of course, when we're doing stuff, yeah, they jump on voice, we joke around, and yeah, you know, it kind of works that way. But like taking initiative and talking and starting a conversation, these things don't happen. But I don't blame them for that. I don't hold it against them. As long as they enable each other, as long as we enable each other to, at the very least, tackle end game, what more can you ask in this time and day, right? Where no one even wants to be social, no one even wants to say good morning, right? So I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. I'll be happy with it. Fuck it. But I just felt today I need to vent, and I need to argue against the validity of MMO structure, of the whole genre structure, you know, as a genre, like what it works on. And I think they're fucking dead. They're so fucking outdated, and they really need to move to something else. They need to evolve into like fucking Pokemon. They need to evolve into like just persistent world, cooperative and scaling games. That's all. Like fucking shed that shit, you know, leave the MMO thing behind, right? And so today I just wanted to fucking just let go and talk about it. And that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't hold back. I couldn't wait until Thursday. Normally I was gonna stream on Thursday and just stream Skyrim as usual. But I was like, nah, first of all, I missed streaming because I didn't stream last week. And second of all, I was like, man, I just want to get it out of my system. That's what I just want to rant, you know? So I did. And since I'm going all out here, I might as well add that like one of the most challenging things of being, I guess a recruiter, I guess, or a guild leader. I'm not sure which, because I do both, unfortunately. GM. I guess one of the most challenging things is actually trying to keep an eye on people and how active they are, and trying to talk to them and tell them what they need to do. Kinda. It is so draining. It is so draining. I think I've met, I won't say I knew them really well, but I have conversed thoroughly with over 200 people or something, just on my own, and manage them, and like, you know, got to know them, try to teach them, try to kind of like integrate them into the guild. It's so fucking draining, especially when their vast majority is working against that actively. It is almost like work, yeah. It is almost like work. Well, the payoff, I'll tell you what, there used to be a payoff. There used to be a payoff. When people actually wanted to play, and actually wanted to be social, and actually wanted to meet people, and that's why they joined the guild, there was a payoff. That you made a friend, a gaming buddy, alright, who was also reliable in a raid, and a reliable member, and they helped promote a healthy image. I want to meet you, wink. What am I supposed to make out of that? Like, I want to meet you, wink. Alright, let's meet behind the tree at 12 o'clock today, alright? Meet me behind the tree at the park. Bring some money. How much? I don't know. Wear a red shirt and carry with you 20 euro. A red shirt and a green like hat or something. And look at your watch every 10 seconds, and I'll know it's you. Doing it now. It's not even 12 o'clock. I mean, look at the stream. You can see what time it is right here. Like, look, it's just 8:15. You're early. Behind the tree. Yeah. It's so interesting because the first guild I ever started in the first, not the first MMO, but like one of the first MMOs I played, which was Ultima, the whole guild almost was real life friends, and we would precisely do exactly that. We would do whatever we wanted to do in the game, and then at night, for example, we would like meet at the park and discuss like what we did that day in game. You know, it was kind of, it's nostalgic. It's very nostalgic. We also went to the same school together. Though some were in different classes. We were even called to the dean's office by worried parents and teachers who intercepted our secret method of communication of throwing like crumpled papers at each other and exchanging notes like that. And the notes were saying things that, like, if you took them out of context, it really looked like we were a fucking cult of murderers. Because we were into player killing back then. That's how you called PvP back then. We were like, you know, PKing, you know, player killing. And yeah, PK, exactly. And we would discuss like how we would set up traps and like where we should like build our home, where we can drop loot and drop body parts and shit like that, because, you know, we were edgy and cringy teenagers, and everyone we killed we carved up and we used their body parts as decoration because the game allowed it. And and you know, the teacher, like one teacher intercepted one of those crumpled papers, and it became a fucking scandal at our local school. It was like, you're fucking Satanists, aren't you? And we're like, no, it's a game. And you know, of course, back then in my country it was fucking inconceivable. The concept of a game that doesn't end and is online was inconceivable 100%, so they wouldn't believe us. I had to go to my place, pick up the boxed version of Ultima Online, and bring it to school and say, this is it. This is it. And I remember I had the little paper map, and I showed them where we had, you know, because we had put like a pin there, like where we wanted to put our house. Because that was a busy spot, and we could like ambush travelers there, you know, other players, and kill them. And then they believed us, of course, but like it was so funny. Like for a whole afternoon, we were basically accused of being murderers, quite fucking literally, in front of the school board. Me, Theo, and Leonidas, and Jim and Lawrence. It was are you a demon? Yeah, well, I mean, one of us was a mage, so they could summon demons in Ultima Online, and yeah, they were mentioning that. They were mentioning that, yeah. And so that was also a point of, you know, discussion for the board. Like, what are you talking about? Summoning demons? Like, you know, and especially in my country back then, there was like a Satanist panic blooming. And it was always on TV, like, oh, you know, Satanists operating in downtown, like Greece and Athens. And I was like, yeah, we got fucked. We got fucked. Imagine 4 people. Because we did that during some weekends. We did that after my parents would go to sleep. I had on school one time. What are you trying to say? You summoned a demon at school one time? You had a demon at school one time? That one kid ran with a knife after me. Oh, holy shit. Oh, well. Yeah, that's different and, well, more dangerous, obviously. My high school was in a very bad area, let's say, back then. Not that school, mind you, the one before that, the one before I met those guys. And we started playing Ultima. But like every now and then, maybe a couple of times a month, there would be groups of like, well, they call themselves anarchists, but I'm not sure that's what they were. I think they were just like violent people grouping up at that point, like fucking thugs. And they would like, they would try to get in the school. They would succeed as well, and they would do some pretty fucked up shit. Like they would throw, they would take oranges, for example, and they would stick razor blades in them and throw them at the teachers and at the kids. Like it was fucking insane, dude. That was kind of creepy. And every time it happened, we had to leave and go home and stuff, you know. Every time the teachers knew beforehand that that was gonna happen, they would send us away for the day. Yeah, well, growing up in the 90s and 80s was weird, I have to say. It was kind of weird. There were certain types of people in every neighborhood that, you know, you always knew to kind of like stay away from. But like, I think the one situation where it could have gone very wrong. Oh wait, one time on school, some kid was saying that he had a boom and boom scout need to come. I was thinking the time I'm free, no more school for the day. I kinda see what you're trying to say. I kinda see what you're trying to say. For me, the most like the time that I felt I was a bomb. All right, cool. Oh, and then a bomb squad should come, and you're thinking I'm free, no more school. Yeah, I mean, yeah, back then everything was just a good excuse not to go at school. Like they would tell you like someone put fire in a class. Okay, no more school for this day. He gave zero fucks about the fire. All he cared about was like, yeah, that means no school. Yay! You know, that's the way we thought back then. That's true. Damn. Your school was burned down? Well, I kinda left those dangerous areas after a while, and the last years of school were like weirder, but not more dangerous. They were less dangerous, but weirder. Your last day was good, huh? Yeah, me too. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fucking believe it. Honestly, that it was over. I couldn't believe it. Especially because I honestly couldn't study. Not because I was dumb or something, but for other reasons. And I had to repeat a couple of classes. I had to repeat like 2 or 3 years or something. It was crazy. And not just me, like there were other people who also, that I knew, that I was like close with, that we were failing together. Private, yeah, me too. Like the last few years were private school, and that's why it was weird. It was very fucking weird. That school was very fucking weird. It was my only chance to finish school, and it was a school. It was a private school known for being the last resort for the kind of, for the kind of people that I am. Fucking delinquents and undesirables and weird people and also R word people as well. So in those last years, I was in the same class, for example, with people who were, well, challenged, for example. I mean, I myself was challenged in a way as well, being completely, um, full of stress all the time. But with that said, my conversation with Maidenfire aside, um, today's stream has fulfilled its purpose. And so, in case someone's watching, I should tell you that from now on, I think it's gonna be just freestyle mumbling, I guess, at this point, just talking back and forth with like whoever is on chat. If that's not to your interest, and you came here for my thoughts on guilds and MMOs, I'm not gonna comment on that any further. So, in case you want to watch something more interesting, feel free. But if you want to stay, you're also welcome. But it's gonna be very, very chill. I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna sit here, talk a little bit with Meden or whoever else chats with me, Neris or whoever, and talk about whatever completely. So you have your warning. Yeah, that's you. That's you, Neris. Of course. And even that, I don't know for how long I'll do it, because yeah, I feel like almost 3 hours is pretty okay. 3 hours, 3.5 hours maybe, is pretty okay. Now I don't know if I'm gonna stream like on Thursday as well. Definitely next Thursday, that's for sure guaranteed. It's gonna be Skyrim, guaranteed. But as for this Thursday, I'm just not sure. Thursday is raid day. Well, I might move it on Friday, whatever. But I think maybe I won't. Maybe just streaming once a week is really just the sweet spot, Maybe streaming once per week is okay. I just happened to do it early this week. Let me throw away this cup of coffee and get me some, pour me some soft drink. So I'll BRB, I'm gonna mute, and I'll BRB. And I'm back. Damn, I feel like putting some music on since we're chilling, but like if I do that, what's gonna happen is that then I'll go into that weird mood where I just sit here and like I don't know, just fucking mumble about things and look at my screen and just listen to the music, and then that's gonna be a music stream at that point, and I'm not sure I'm a good host for those. Radio Kunavi? Yeah, of course. Radio Daphne, that's it. Radio D. Yeah, but no, if I do that, I'm gonna go into this mood where I don't really, you know, either I'll be mumbling a little bit every now and then, maybe remember something, and then talk about it, and then like also fall silent for long times. I don't think it's gonna be entertaining. I'm not sure. I mean, I already consider it like an achievement that I've talked about all the shit that I talked about for more than 2.5 hours. Like that is like what? Yeah. I honestly don't know how for example again I forget, is it moist critical or something? But anyway, that you know, other creators fucking do that, like where they stay on stream for hours just discussing 1,000 different topics, and yeah, I don't know. I guess that if I was super motivated, and I assume that they are, and also earning something, because I don't have to assume that they are. I would probably also try to fucking draw it out as much as possible. That's not to say that that's what they're doing literally, but I mean, like, you know, obviously, if it works, you keep doing it, right? And especially if you're enjoying it, and especially if it makes you money. But for me, I don't even have like my camera on, and I'm just like just chilling. And I don't know, honestly. And there is lots of stuff that I want to talk about, but here's the thing: most of it is like has to do with like my life, let's say. And I know that it might be grounds for someone to call me like self-conceited or something, but it's not that. It's just that I think that there are some interesting stories in my life that I do love sharing, and they're a good laugh most of the times, and sometimes they're also sad, obviously. But I don't know if, like, beyond that, what would I talk about? Like, I guess I would just browse YouTube or something and react to stuff, I suppose, but I don't know. I haven't yet decided if that's something that I want to do in any way. So I don't know. I don't know. I could, for example, share with you what happened today when I tried to look into. So wait, let's take it from the start. Wait. So, because things aren't looking up at all, which I mentioned I think last time, things are kind of actually looking down, straight up. or straight down, actually. You get the idea. I was looking into some form of safety net for people who are jobless, have increased difficulty in finding jobs because of their predicament and their status, let's say. For example, LGBT individuals with no previous experience working, not for real anyway, unless we count owning a club, which I mean I have that at least, but yeah, good luck with that. And I was trying to figure out if there is some way to cover, for at least for the government to cover for some of my expenses, at least for my hormones, or for all that stuff, for my HRT or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know what term is correct these days. But maybe they could cover some of that, because it's fucking expensive sometimes, And so I was looking into it, and one of the things that I looked into was basically contacting my family's accountant. Now, they're not necessarily my accountant, but they do kind of cover our whole family, that person. And so I asked her, all right, basically, my situation, what taxes I pay, what this and that, everything basically. Can you guide me through this? Can you point me in the right direction? Go to this fucking office or organization, tell them this and that, give them this and that paper, and they'll sort you out. Maybe you'll get some minimum something just to make sure that you can stay alive or something. And among her responses were basically, she asked me straight up, what the fuck is LGBT? To which I was super surprised, especially because she knows about me. She knows that I'm a trans person. And to that I answered, for example, well, it's the initials of the words lesbian, gay, bi, whatever. And I said, etc., 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 And her next question was, what the fuck is etc.? And it wasn't even in English. It was the Greek equivalent, which is Kelipa, KLP. And she's Greek, and I'm Greek. And that's a very common thing to say, Kelipa. It's and stuff, etc. Basically, word for word, it's etc. And she was like, what is that? And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. I said, look, thank you very much. I'll figure it out on my own. Thank you. Yeah. Now, along with my depression, come certain perks. One of them being that whenever I'm faced with a very steep slope like this, I immediately kind of become lazy. Especially if I've tried it in the past, which I have, and it was full of obstacles, which it was. I immediately kind of back off from it, and I'm trying to fight that as hard as I can, and master whatever courage I can, and just go to my local, and I'll translate this word for word because I don't know what the proper term is, but I don't know if it even exists in other countries, but we have this sort of thing here called Center of Citizen Support. Or something, where they are there to basically guide you, right? To put you on the right path to something, whatever that might be. But last time I went there, because every country has their form of basically, are you jobless? Then you get a minimum wage per month, which is not really a wage. It's just basically almost enough to pay for your internet, almost enough to be able to buy some fucking, ramen off the fucking market shelves or something, and that's it, that, 70 euro per month or something. And I was looking to get that because I fucking need it, obviously. and I needed it back then when I looked into it. And it was so weird because I went there and I said, okay, basically, here is my situation. Here is like my proof that this is my situation back then, which it is also now, by the way. What does the government? What can the government do for me? Like, can they put me somewhere, like in a program to get a job or something? Can I do that? And in the meantime, can it offer me like some means to sustain myself? And the person was looking at me and she was like, free money? What are you talking about? Go get a job. And I was like, but that's what I'm here for. I'm like, it's very difficult to find work, and I'm here to find work, And she was like, yeah, go get a job. Like, I don't care. Like, what free money? And it's so annoying because, like, you hear from all those people who, who have actually managed it. And they're like, yeah, it's just so easy. Just go there and ask for it, Just go there and show them your papers and, and be honest, and they're going to sort you out. And no, it doesn't work that way. Apparently, at least back then when I checked, I don't know about now, but that's what I want to find out now. That's what I'm fucking, prepping for. But back then it was like, for you to get any kind of money or be put in any kind of program where they eventually find you a job, you had to already have had a job for 2 years, for which you had to have proper papers that this is true, that you have worked there for 2 years, and that you were fired and not quit, but fired specifically, and that you had certain qualifications, which I did, all right, because I had finished school. I was done with my conscription and all that, it was sorted. But the problem is that I didn't have a job, because the few quote-unquote jobs that I had, a couple of jobs, they were more like, not on the papers, let's say, all right? They were, I was just a hired person, like completely unofficial, blah, 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 blah. Which was the norm back then, by the way, It was the norm for my country back then. And so, and I never stayed too long. I mean, 2 years? No way. And so I couldn't get into that program that finds you a job because I couldn't find a job. And I couldn't find a job because I'm a trans person. And back then in Greece, holy shit, even now it's like, yeah, good luck with that. Good fucking luck with that, honestly. And especially because I was, as I said, I had to repeat like a couple of years or more of school. I was already older than like my quote-unquote competition, let's say, and I didn't have any previous experience, and I didn't have any diplomas or anything at all. I was fresh out of school, completely done with school, by the way. Yeah, and my studies also fell apart. I've talked about before, like my psychology studies fell apart, and my 3D animation studies, they didn't fall apart. I finished those, but like, what are you gonna do with those in Greece? What are you gonna do with that, huh, buddy? Where are you going with those papers? They are worthless. Let me wipe my ass with that shit. And yeah, I'm not exaggerating. It was worthless and a waste of money and time. And I only did it to basically appease my family back then. Which on its own is a very huge story, my family, which I might, share completely at one point also. But like for now, let's just stick to what happened today, right? And so because it was so fucking brutal back then, now that I have to do it again, since my family's accountant is not gonna help, I'm just like kind of like, retreating into my shell, let's say, in that regard. And let me tell you, it's tricky to pull yourself out of that. It's kind of tricky when you're depressed, when you have depression, basically. And I do have depression. And that's also something that I also want to talk about at one point. Like, how come I have been diagnosed if in general I appear to be, and I have said that I have been really social and really happy and all that. Yeah, I want to get into all that. I want to fucking, go into detail about my life. It's a very interesting thing, my life, Or at least I think so. I think it warrants sharing. But yeah, so this is what happened today, and I'm just in this mood where, man, I just gotta go back to that weird citizen support center or whatever, and see if maybe something changed in the last few years. Maybe this time I'll go and I'll say, hey, motherfucker, I'm gonna be hungry in a few months. No joke. Give me some money or find me a job. Though, okay, to be absolutely brutally fair and brutally honest, there is one job I'll not take ever. And you might think that it's one of those shady jobs, but no. Actually, the one job that I will not take, I fucking refuse to take, is, phone tech support. Like, every person I know who has done this in real life, they all start so bright. They're like, yeah, it pays well, and it does, and this and that, and all of them come out with PTSD like in 3 months average, 3 to 6 months average. I knew one of them, Alex, a friend of mine, Alexander. He handled it for like a couple of years actually. And yeah, he would always complain about it so much, and he was right to. Like, his ears hurt, his eyes from looking at the screen all the time hurt. It was hell. I don't know, but he was the only one who fucking pulled it off for 2 years. And once he found a proper job, he was like, I'm never doing that shit ever in my whole fucking life, ever. I remember us talking about it, and it was atrocious. But like, also other people that I know are like, yeah, if you can avoid it, just don't do it. If you're basically about to die and live in a cardboard box, then you should consider it. But like, there seems to be something very cursed about that thing. I don't know. At least in Greece, right? And I do know one person. Well, not know them, but they are an acquaintance through another acquaintance, let's say. So they haven't talked to me directly about it, but our common acquaintance, at least, has said that, yeah, for them it worked out. They ended up also getting a promotion eventually, and like, working for Facebook, actually, phone support for Greece or something like that, which that's like a best case scenario, I think. And pretty crazy if you think about it. Like, that sounds like, wow, and in a short time as well, so I have no fucking idea how that guy pulled it off. But whatever. The majority of people I know, and the people they know, are all like, yeah, only as a last resort. Only if you know for sure that like tomorrow you won't be able to put some bread on the table for yourself, And you might be wondering, like, as well, and I wouldn't blame you if I'm truthful, because sometimes I have mentioned that I used to club a lot. Remember that? I used to fucking go out so much and drink so much and buy people drinks and such. So how is that possible if then I'm in such a situation? Well, that's also a very interesting story. As I told you earlier, it's like it would be interesting at one point to start like telling you exactly how my life turned out to be, and the twists and turns that it took, And maybe it's gonna be cool to do that, these days, these times, let's say, and not like far in the future. Especially because I don't know what's gonna happen far in the future. It all depends. It feels like I'm in a turning point, and I'm pretty curious what kind of turn this shit is. And even that ties into what I talked about today with MMOs. Because, you know, they are my escapism. And if I'm like, if I have to go through 20 fucking mental hoops to fucking play a game, at this point, like, holy shit, you know. Oh well. But yeah, don't take this as, you know, crying about it or anything, but yeah, whatever. Man, if you just browse Imgur, right? So many stories about people saying like, well, that's it for me. I'm poor from in 1 month's time. I'll be poor. I just wanted to vent. Like I've seen at least like 3 posts like that today, at least, and I'm like, holy shit! At least I'm not alone. Like, what the fuck is going on? One of them was from the UK, another one was from like the USA, and another I don't even know where from. And I wonder if I'll put my post one day there and saying, "Hey, I'm poor. I got about 1 month, and then it's cardboard life, cardboard gang." I wonder, honestly. We'll see. But until then, I do plan to stream Skyrim and to play Guild Wars 2. And to try and fix things, I guess, somehow. And to try to avoid tech support. We'll see about that. Oh, and I was also, like today, I was also looking into whether or not the government can cover my prescription, at least partially. And here's the kicker: for them to do that, I have to have insurance, which I can't afford, and I can't have social insurance. That's what they call it here. I'm sure that the equivalent is something, you know. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But to have that in Greece, again, you have to have worked so that you can be registered in that particular office. And yeah, well, I've never worked officially, therefore, you know, no social insurance for me. Meaning that the government will not cover my prescription. Man, life is so great, but also life fucking sucks. It's so weird. Ideally, what should happen right now is that I manage to sell my apartment, which is worth a lot. And exactly that's what's make it very difficult to sell it. And then take that money and go live somewhere very, very cheap, but still able to have like my internet connection, and still be able to, you know, kind of like make do. And then hopefully that money will be enough, with some, you know, caution on my part, to get me through until, you know what I'm talking about, right? So, you know, maybe do it like that, or until I find a job, you know, somehow magically. That's the best case scenario I can hope for right now. And it's also like plan A, let's say. Alright, well, enough fucking depression, enough fucking real life shit. We're on the 3 hours mark. That's where I'm gonna leave you. And it's been super interesting streaming like this and just chatting with you and covering all those topics, I guess. And also interesting, like, I mean, Wow, someone talked in chat. Maidenfire. Yeah, fucking wow. And I'm not being sarcastic. That's awesome. Someone other than Neris, to be fair. And yeah, wow. Thank you for watching. And I probably won't see you on Thursday, but I'll definitely see you next Thursday. That's for sure. And we're gonna play some Skyrim and forget about all that fucking shit. And we're gonna kill some stuff. You're just a constant, always telling dank puns. No, I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure, Neris, that if you were here earlier when I was talking about guilds and MMOs and everything, you would have had lots to say, to contribute. You would have contributed. And especially when I was going through that weird Final Fantasy starter guide and the weird guild thing, I'm sure you would have things to say. Seeing as how you have always been my co-leader in all my guild-related bullshit. You saw snippets of it on your way to psychiatrist. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that you're not just a constant, you know, dank puns. Daft punks. You're not a daft punk. I'm pretty sure. However, that said, it's time for me to fuck off. So thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it. And stay cool and stay safe, and I'll see you maybe this Thursday, but most likely next Thursday, okay? If anything changes, I'll probably put it on the fucking shitty Twitter that I have. Is it Twitter or is it like Instagram? What do I have? I think it's Twitter, right? That's what I'm... Yeah, I think it's Twitter, yeah. Whatever. If anything changes, I'll post it there, whatever. If not, again, probably next Thursday. I don't think this Thursday, but maybe. You never fucking know. I'm unpredictable. Who knows? Alright, thanks again, and be safe, alright? And I'll see you. Good night.